Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the public participation portion of the regular Common Council meeting of January 11, 2023. We do have one speaker tonight. If you would like to approach Carmelo Rodriguez, state your name and address for the record, and please limit your time to 3 minutes. Your food.
Carmelo Rodriguez, 1254 Slater Road, and I'm here to speak against the distribution center, the marijuana distribution center for cultivation at 436 Slater Road. But before that, I just want to say that I had that great honor to be a commissioner under Chief Shute. Seeing him is a bittersweet seeing him leave, but I feel confident that Deputy Chief is capable of taking any position or working with our police department. So going back to the marijuana distribution center here, I saw a comment that Mayor Stewart put it that it's going to be a distribution center. I saw a sign outside for hearing on the 19th. I believe is the worst thing probably I have seen over 30 years as a resident of the city of New Britain, that anyone would consider to put a center, a marijuana center, in the midst of 5 schools that we have, 2 parks within hundreds of feet of that parcel. Recently, you guys spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a great park where thousands of people would be coming there, which hundreds of feet from that place. But worst of all, it's in a high-dense location, residential. There are people on all 4 corners. That means that people who are on the back are seeing, left or right are seeing that. I believe it's the craziest thing I've ever seen that anyone would consider bringing this here. We have promoted recovery. We have promoted a better quality of life for the city of New Britain, and I think this is a setback going forward with this. I know there's a hearing. I will be at that hearing as I was before, but I'm hoping that this council, which was voted by the people, we the people, to protect us, to defend us, will think at this very seriously. That I will see that within my neighborhood, where hundreds of kids will pass through that sidewalk, we'll see something that's a negative impact to our community. You guys always vote for policies and ordinance. And sadly, some of these ordinances get watered down or probably ignored. /270/40/40.15510, which is the purpose of ordinance. It says the regulations to minimize an adverse impact of such facility and to preserve the city of New Britain neighborhoods, commercial district, property value, and quality of life. I believe, I spoke to a couple of realtors today, they don't say that by having this in my neighborhood, right down the road from my house, is going to increase the price of my house, but it might decrease because of the perception that it brings. It will lower the property value. It will just attract negative activity. Not only that 270/40/40 155.40.20 on your ordinance says cannot be within 100 feet of residential area. What divides this parcel is a fence of houses all the way around. So I ask you to do the right thing.
Thank you. That's all that signed up. Is anyone else wish to speak before the Common Council? Second time, anyone else wish to speak before the council? Third and final time, anyone wish to speak before the council? Seeing none, public participation is closed now at 7:04. Council members wish to address? Yes, Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to correct some of the information that the gentleman spoke about at the podium. This is not a distribution center. Public cannot arrive to this property and purchase marijuana at this center. This is simply a cultivation facility. It will be one of the most secure facilities you've ever seen in your life. There will not be billboard neon lit signs outside of this facility that say weed sold here. It is a private business that is only authorized to sell to established companies or other legalized distribution centers around the area. Now, with that said, the gentleman also referred to our hearing on the 19th. That is the ZBA. The council does not approve this situation. The council has already done its work to approve the city ordinances related to the marijuana business in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, we are now closed. The regular meeting will start in just about a minute or so. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the January 11th, 2023 Common Council meeting at 7:06 PM. We will begin with our roll call. Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons Dyson. Here. Ayalon. Here. Catanzaro.
Here.
Costa. Hargraves. Here. Malinowski. Here. Ortiz Luna. Here. Pabon. Russell. Here. Rutkowski. Here. Sanchez. Here. Skirpo. Segura. Thompson.
Present.
Smedley.
Present.
12 present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will you please lead us in the invocation?
Let us pray. O God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for a new year of life. Remind us of our truest values and goals for the new year. Help us to live in the goodness that comes from doing what you have us destined to do. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We don't have any minutes to approve, so we're going to move right along to amendments to the agenda. Alderman Dyson.
Mayor, Pro Tem, I make a motion
Microphone.
Phone on. Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to amend the agenda by withdrawing item number 11, substituting item number 13, adding items number 16, 17, and 18, and moving item number 18 to the top of the agenda.
Thank you. Seconded by Alderwoman Costa. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's roll
All
call.
opposed? Oh, I apologize. Roll call.
No problem.
My first mess up.
We're counting, that's the first one. Alderpersons Dyson.
Yes.
Ayalon. Yes. Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Malinowski. Ortiz Luna. Russell. Rutkowski. Sanchez. Thompson.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
12-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Clerk, do you have any petitions this evening?
No petitions.
Thank you very much. We'll move right along to our agenda items. Alderman Dyson for Resolution 18.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry?
Consent.
We're doing this resolution
moving
before.
18. Remember, I moved
Because we have to
18
appoint
up?
Marion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is to appoint Marion Fishbein to the Clerk of Committees due to the resignation of Sarah Piatti, and I certainly urge adoption.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson. Is there any further discussion on the item? Alderman Ayalon?
Mr. Chairman, if perhaps we can be introduced to hear a little bit from our first one.
Absolutely. Ms. Fishbein, would you mind coming to the podium? I will start as she approaches the podium. Ms. Fishbein is a resident of our city, has been involved with our school district. Both of her children attended the school district, and I have full confidence that Ms. Fishbein can carry out the duties of clerk for the council. Ms. Fishbein.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Smedley.
You're welcome.
Marion Fishbein. I'm at 135 Brittany Farms Road. I've been a New Britain resident ever since I moved to Connecticut a very long time ago. Both of my kids went through New Britain schools, and that was by choice. I could have moved, and I chose not to. I like the direction the city's going in. I love the diversity of our city, and whatever I can do to help out, that's what I've been doing for years.
Thank you, Ms. Fishbein. Anyone have any other questions or any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. Fishbein. Actually, just need you back at the podium. Mr. Clark is going to come on over and swear you in.
And please raise your right hand. Do you, Marion Fishbein, having been appointed to the office of Clerk of Committees for the City of New Britain, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and honestly perform the duties of the office of Clerk of Committees for the City of New Britain to the best of your judgment and skill, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to our consent agenda. Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept a consent agenda of items A, B, C, E, F, I, J, and K.
Seconded by Alderman Russell. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons Dyson. Yes. Ayalon. Yes. Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Malinowski. Ortiz Luna. Russell. Rutkowski. Sanchez. Thompson.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
12-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. For item D, Alderman Ayalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept item D.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
And
Alderman Ayalon.
thank you. And if we can, I appreciate the answer about missing, and I'd like to know more information if we can have somebody from police to give us more detail.
Sure. Deputy Chief is here with us.
Thank you for coming. Yes, the response focused on what the officers do. So could you give us a little more, perhaps, how often there are missing people in New Britain, and in general, what has happened, when, if you keep some statistics on that, how many of them still are missing, and or all of them? Just kind of give us more information on what's going on with missing people in New Britain.
Okay, I don't have the specific case you're speaking of, sir. You're looking for a rundown of.
No,
how
not
we-
a specific case, just in general.
Just
what
a
hap-
rundown of missing person
Yes, about
investigation?
missing. Overall, in the last few years, how is it something that occurs very often or very rare, or?
Well, there's a fallacy that a lot of people believe that somebody has to be missing for 24 hours before they report them missing. That's absolutely incorrect. We get a call of a missing person, we immediately investigate that. And you look at the circumstances case by case. Is that somebody who is somebody with special needs? Is it somebody who has a medical condition? Is it a child or elderly? Obviously, that heightens, our concern, or as opposed to a 15-year-old who was showing up a little late from home. So again, that immediately gets assigned to an officer, and depending on, again, the aforementioned circumstances. If somebody has some concerns, obviously we add more people to it. We try to get a description. Technology is wonderful for us. We get to put that out via social media if we go to that point. If it's something where it's a concern to a silver alert, that's somebody who's elderly, has medical concerns, a child taken or whatnot, then or in jeopardy of their life being threatened, we bump that up to an Amber Alert. But, for our regular patrol, everyone's more or less on a Slack or a GroupMe type chat. You can put that out with a picture. Officers put that around. Dispatch can put that out to everyone on our mobile devices, MDTs. And we just generally don't walk away from a missing person. Again, if it's somebody who failed to show up from work, we're going to reach out to family members who past contacts have been. And if it is something that wasn't resolved that evening, again, depending on the circumstances, that might immediately be recalled in. We have canines to track. Again, we have a German Shorthair Pointer now, 2 bloodhounds, and our German Shepherd, who's all trained in track relocation. So, we've called in other towns with drones in the past as well. So again, particularly when it's somebody elderly or there's at risk with children, it's all hands on deck. And we're going to continue working until that person's found, or at least we have a jump-off point where we can go from there.
Okay. I'm sure there are some elderly, may perhaps suffer from Alzheimer or others. Is it more common to have missing elderly or missing children or youngsters, teenagers?
I would say mostly with elderly. With children, when we do get that, sir, most of the time it's somebody either in the house they're found or within the general location, obviously depending on the time. But in regards to elderly, one of the programs where we're actually looking at in the New Britain Police Department, it's a new program called VIF, where it's a registry which we keep, where people can voluntarily sign up those with either mental deficiencies, elderly, autism. So we keep a track, and so if somebody does report that missing, we automatically have a database. Southington is testing this technology now. Myself, Chief Baxter, Chief Ortiz are looking at this, as well as our PSTC, to see if that's something viable for us here in the city as well.
So what you're saying is that perhaps many families are not familiar with it, that if they have somebody in their household or neighborhood that they suspect could be missing or could be, then they should report and have it inside your database.
That's something we're looking to see, and that's something that they would put forward. But what technology we do have now through our dispatch center, sir, is we can flag an address and/or a name. So if we go to 125 Booth Street, we know that we've been there in the past. There is somebody there with, Alzheimer's or who is nonverbal or whatnot. So our officers are alerted beforehand, and it may not be the officers. That can also go to first responder, medical, or fire personnel as well.
Well, you said that there is a silver alert, and what's the biggest level?
Amber is the one where you'll
Amber.
see where you get the alert on your phone.
So what does it mean what does it mean, what happens, how is that different than other reports? What does that mean, that there are more alerts, everybody here? Because sometimes I get on my cell phone.
You're going to get more of a media attention at that point. So you'll see the major news companies, WTNH, WFSB, they'll put that out to actually expand the scope. So again, you have a force multiplier there. Social media is our best friend in that situation as well. But Silver Alert, essentially, we'll take that information. Basically, anybody who's listed as missing, we enter them in our NCIC database as a file 6, a missing person. We can enter that and we can take that back without alerting the news media. If it reaches to the point where, again, it's somebody with, diminished capacity mentally or, elderly, that's something where we put Silver Alert. You'll see the picture out on the news. Amber Alert generally is there's a crime associated with that, a kidnapping, a murder suspect, or somebody absconded with a child or a victim who might be in grave danger. And that's when you see that and your phone will go off.
Okay, so final question, so for what would you tell households here in New Britain as far as if they have somebody missing in there, what to expect other than reporting it to the police? What should they expect happening to them? Is somebody assigned there that keeps in contact with them, or what is that they would expect?
Well, immediately you're going to get a patrol officer and likely a supervisor, again, if there's something alongside other than suspicious activity, somebody being missing. But somebody is going directly to be assigned to that, and again,
Come to visit them
they're going to be
personally?
directly involved with them, sir, and if it's something a higher magnitude based on some of the circumstances, an investigator is going to come and they're going to be solely focused on that. Because, your first responders, your officers working the street, the 12 to 15 officers, they're essentially going to be the essential responders, take the information and hand that off to somebody with more resources and probably more of ability to continue following up on that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Deputy Chief, just a quick follow-up question to clarify something. The Amber and the Silver Alerts, you just don't send a text message to 10,000 city residents, correct?
No, sir, that wouldn't be us. Generally, that's actually sent out through the state police as well.
So there's qualifiers in order for it to reach a Silver Alert level that generate the message being sent out?
Yes, sir. Certain parameters or benchmarks got to be met before that actually goes out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Russell. Sorry, Deputy Chief, sorry.
there are other city agencies that get involved in these as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it depends, again, if it's a child, we might have somebody, we might be reaching out to the school board immediately saying, hey, you might have a repository of friends where they hang out, where they've known to be. If it is somebody who has mental health problems, again, we now not only have one, now we have 2 navigator officers who work with people with, whether it's substance abuse issues, again, mental disease, probably reach out CMHA for at times as well. Again, we have resources through New Britain EMS. So again, we will partner with whoever is going to help augment, locate these people quicker, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion on item D? All right, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Yes, sir.
Item G, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Mayor. In regard to a petition for support services, looking at information regarding our downtown parking garages, we thought it was a perfect time to have our Director of Support Services, John Delgadillo, to give us an updated report on the downtown parking study that was given to the Mayor's Strategic Plan Committee.
As he approaches, I need a motion
I need a motion
to accept.
to
item G.
accept item G.
Thank you. Seconded by Alderman Thompson. And discussion. Mr. Delgadillo, thank you.
Thank you, council members, everyone. Again, I'll just go through this presentation quickly. It's, if you were at the Mayor's Strategic Committee, it's very similar to the one provided at that meeting, but for everybody else, I did include a PDF version with my response to the report, but I will also give you guys a quick rundown of the existing conditions. We did get a parking study done last year.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Delgadillo, for the clear and informed presentation. I remember, now we see a big development now in downtown, tall buildings are raised. Can you remind us how much parking will be offered under these buildings?
Under these buildings?
Yeah, or where would the inhabitants of the new,
They're acquiring leases with the city, so they are having lease agreements with the city to park these apartments in our parking garages.
so,
That study does reference
oh,
that.
the residents of these new buildings will park in the parking garages?
Correct.
There won't be any parking, underground parking in those buildings?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So would another solution for future buildings to condition it or to require them to also offer, as many other countries have, or other cities, underground parking? Is that a possibility?
The cost of, again, that's obviously up to the developer. The cost of building underground parking per space, I believe, is about almost $100,000 for one space to build it underground, underneath a building. I've heard that recently, so don't hold me to that, but to build one space, I believe it's $50,000 to $100,000 just for one space under building the new construction.
So the parking will offer in the parking garages for these new buildings, residents, will that be enough? I don't know, maybe it was here in the
Yeah, it's in there.
report.
Correct. Everything in this study was accommodating the High Railer, the Brit, the Strand, any downtown development that we saw and Jack Benjamin was aware of was included in this, and even future developments that we hope to see in some of the properties that have been just sitting there is also in the mid to long-term deal.
So a resident that buys or rents an apartment there will get a designated spot?
No, no designated spots. That was actually something approved by the Parking Commission a couple of years ago, that we would no longer provide designated parking for anybody.
But we'll get a free parking, or
Well,
or
that's,
no? It won't
that's
be-
that's on their landlord. So our leases are with the building owners, and then what the building owner wants to charge them or not charge them, or provide it or not provide it as part of their apartment lease, that's on them.
So within the garage, there will be an area that will be only for residents,
No.
right?
Well, as you see now on the Bottle Auto Garage, there's green parking permit area signs. That is a parking permit that is for residents that live in the downtown area. It would be
Okay.
something very similar to that, correct?
Okay,
But
so
not a
they'll-
specific building, not any specific person. It's just a generalized area. That way we have metered parking for public that wants to come in and out from
Right.
downtown to City Hall, and then we have monthly apartment permits for the monthlies.
Okay, so it's kind of like in Central, you get for staff and students, they get a special parking sticker, and they're the only ones that can park in.
Correct. We give everybody hanging parking permits.
Okay, so what percentage, or maybe it was here in the, what percentage of these parking garages will be available only for residents, downtown residents? Any,
No,
But-
I don't have that information offhand. It is give you a summary in there, but that would be including what we anticipate as far as leases and who we anticipate to also be visiting the city. It's not specific to just people leasing the property, or leasing and utilizing these as monthly parking permits.
all right, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Delgadillo? Circle the room. Alderman Canzero.
Thank you. The study for Broad Street you did, seeing those are new meters, was there any, did you look at prior to the meters? Because you really have nothing to
Yeah, so the study before,
compare it to. Oh, okay.
so the study before this study was done in 2015, and they highly recommended
Yeah.
providing parking meters on Broad Street. They said, obviously, what it was is to have that turnover. So what was happening on Broad Street was a lot of residents were parking on the main Broad Street, so people weren't able to visit the businesses. They'd have to park on side streets. With the study, you could see that there's sufficient parking on the side streets for resident parking, and that the main street of Broad Street should be available for the commercial use, which we feel that's definitely accommodated by the parking meters. I've actually heard nothing but good things, other than a few that said they love the parking meters. Actually gives their not tenants, they're
Businesses.
patrons, yeah, they're patrons to somewhere to park, customers, thank you. Customers somewhere to park and come right in instead of having to drive around and find a spot or park on a side street.
Yeah, I'm not all for, for charging 7 days a week, but I went to a wedding in West Hartford on a Saturday or Sunday, Farmington Avenue restaurant. Behind is all parking, and the meters are active. You have to pay or you get towed even on the weekend. So West Hartford, of course, a little different with all the restaurants and stuff, but I know you mentioned that too, the possibility of either, nighttime or weekends, that's gonna discourage, because some people are upset, but, that's probably an option for the future if things get that, busy.
Yeah, I think that's obviously something in the long term. 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. is what West Hartford does 7 days a week. So,
Is that what it is? Okay.
so.
All right, thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Chairman.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of, oh, I apologize, Alderman Rotuski, I didn't see your hand.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mayor Pro Tem. I know, Mr. Gardell, you don't have might not have the numbers right now, but can you give us some update on the parking meters on Broad Street specifically? See how it's been? What is
Usage?
Usage?
Oh, the
things like that?
revenue's actually pretty significant that we've generated on Broad Street so far. I don't have that in front of me, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay,
would've
I know it's off the
provided that.
topic, but in
no,
the future,
yeah,
can you provide us that?
oh, for sure.
And I'd like to see what the cost was for that. I mean, we know because we passed it, this council actually passed it, I believe it was. I just want to be able to bring that back to some people that say, oh my God, parking meters. Thank you very much.
The previous, Alderman, the previous study actually did say the parking meters would pay for themselves in about 2 years.
Perfect.
I really think we're still, if not there, we're on par to be those be paid in 2 years for sure.
That's good news. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. A chance for discussion here. Seeing none. All those in favor of item G signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Carries. Item H, Alderman Ayalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to accept item H.
Thank you.
And I urge-
Seconded by Alderman Thompson. Any discussion?
Yes, and Alderman Hargreaves, who is also our Chair of Human Rights, could you give us a summary of this report?
Yeah, sure, of course. So every year, as required by the federal government, EEOC, we have to conduct a workforce analysis of our current employees, full-time employees. It's a snapshot as of one day on June 30th of every year. And it compares to last year. It goes by department, it goes by race and gender, and salaries, just see if there's any discrepancies, if there's anything. So that's pretty much the point of it. It definitely opens our eyes. These numbers also go directly into our affirmative action plan, which creates our hiring goals. So based on these numbers, they're compared to the workforce in Hartford County or state, and that is how we come up with our hiring goals for every year. So that will be coming up soon to the council.
Thank you. So from the report this year, any glaring issues that needs to work on?
No, I just think that we continue to diversify the city. I think that we're looking more at qualifications rather than who you know or what you're associated with. So, and we're trying to bring down those barriers. So I think that we've been doing a pretty good job. You can't change things overnight, but slowly but surely, I think we're doing better. As noted in this report, there's an increase in black females by 13%, an increase by Hispanic males by nearly 7%, and we decreased our white males, which has historically been the largest group of employees, a decrease of 5.5%.
I just want to note a few items that I mentioned before. So 50% of our workforce is made out of two departments, so the fire department and the police department. The police is the biggest, 169, and followed by the fire department, 119. So I notice here that still 76% of the workforce in the fire department and 73% in the police department are still white, with very few females. And just to kind of remind everybody that this city basically is 42% Hispanic and 38% white. And so we have here a big discrepancy between our population and the makeup for the fire. And And also female, we have, fire department has, 6%, and female policemen, 13%. So that's another glaring discrepancy. The third and fourth largest departments are much lower. Public Works with 71, and the water utility of 47. And we see also the same discrepancy, white 72% with only 3 female. We have black at 5.6%, no female, and Hispanic is actually probably the highest among the biggest department with 15 or 21%. Again, female, we see only 4 in Public Works. And finally, water utility, which is the 4th largest, is 47, and again, 70% whites, and only 1 female in the whole department. And black is 8%, no female, and Hispanic 21%, which is actually probably equivalent to Public Works. So we see the picture a little. So for these 4 departments, Mr. Hargreave, Alderman Hargreave, any plans that you're familiar with in those departments that are done to attract more female, more people of color?
Yeah, I can speak on a few. This doesn't include our most recent fire recruiting class, which was a diverse class, consistent, it was pretty more diverse than we have seen. And it also included females and mostly New Britain residents. And also Chief Ortiz, and I commend him for starting a young girls fire academy to try to get girls at a young age involved so that they're ready for that when they become age to apply for those jobs. I can speak on the Public Works Department where they have removed the CDL requirement, which was a barrier to a lot of our minorities. So now they have 4 months after the date of hire to get their CDL. So that increased the diversity. So people that before was unable to afford it or had barriers of getting that, they can have that job before they get that CDL. They just have to get it within the time frame provided. For the police department, Chief Shoup provided so much information about the recruitment that they do, job fairs throughout places, colleges. I'm sure you've seen them at CCSU. They're at every event that we have downtown and throughout the city. They're involved with the Pell program. They try to talk to parents there and kids and try to make them understand. They obviously have the Police Explorers program, which gets them involved with law enforcement at a young age. And Public Works and Water are the same department, so that goes with that. So
Isn't there I'm sorry to just interrupt here, isn't there a academy, a safety academy, a public safety academy in New Britain High School?
yes, yeah.
Do you know if any recruits from there or any have
That
attended?
program just came back last year, so we don't have people really eligible just yet, but they do, every year they do between EMS, fire, and police, a third of each.
So, no, I'm just, perhaps if you can get
So
from the
that's
public.
that's another way of trying to reach out, because we'd rather hire people from our own city as
Right.
well.
If you can get some information about their maybe how we can link them closer to those academy and the city.
Yeah, well, it's our instructors, our people go out there, our police officers, our firefighters, our EMS, so they're working with the kids hands-on.
That's correct. The chief himself goes and teaches a portion of the class.
Okay.
Detective Lopa from the police department goes and teaches the other portion of the class, and Chief Baxter from EMS.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions, comments, or discussion on item H? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. On to our regular resolutions. Alderman Dyson for item 1.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to accept and adopt item number 1.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This is to approve tax assessment modification agreement for 480 Myrtle Street. Avon Towers LLC is working to convert the building into 119 residential apartment units and a suite of amenities for building residents. The agreement limits the real estate property taxes to $550 per residential unit commencing with addition to grand list following the issuance of a temporary CO with annual real estate tax increases of 2%, each succeeding assessment day for a total term of not to exceed 13 years, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Dyson. Any further discussion? Mr. Benjamin is here, and Mr. Cahota is here. Alderman Island?
I'm just a statement that we dealt with that a lot in the committee, and I think we had a historical agreement where we actually provided not the 26 original years, but 13, which is significant, and I think we should celebrate this historical moment, but I appreciate that. We still provide incentives for the developer, but we provided, I believe, several $1 million for that to fill our coffin. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion? Alderman Canzaro?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this is a great, I'll be voting yes, obviously. I want to, again, thank Alderwoman Costa, Alderman Thompson, our clerk, our Economic Development, Corporation Council, so on and so forth, for all the assistance in getting this deal done. The message I believe we're sending out is we are open for business. We're more than willing to help contractors and people that want to come into our city. But we're also going to help ourselves. We can't hurt ourselves by helping somebody else. And I believe we're sending the message that just because we gave one contractor one deal is no guarantee another contractor is getting that same deal. We're going to look at every proposal on its own, and there's a lot of things that go with that, whether, you know, where it is, how much it costs, the construction, and so forth. So I think this is a good deal. It does help the owner. It helps us. We broke that mold of 26 years, which we were very adamant to do. There's a couple things more we like to do for the future. It's not a perfect agreement, but it's much, much better than what we had before. So I think it's a very positive step forward, and I thank the owner for working with the city and making this happen. I know it's going to be a beautiful building when it's all done, and I thank everybody involved for getting it done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Canzaro. Alderman Russell?
I would also like to thank the developer as well for choosing New Britain to help us grow and move forward. And I understand there is deals we have to make to get things, to get it done and to make it worth your while to do so. So I hope you continue to work with us and help us grow, and thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Around the room.
may I?
Alderwoman Costa?
Thank you. Mr. Dakota, thank you for investing in New Britain. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for participating in the conversation last week. The rendering was beautiful yesterday at 102 West Main, so we're really excited about that. You're doing a lot of wonderful things here. 480 Myrtle Street is a catalyst for reinvention on Myrtle, so we are very excited to be working with you, and we're grateful for your investment. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you for investing in us.
All right, seeing no further discussion, I just wanted to extend a thank you to Mr. Benjamin and his staff, his office, Mr. Koenig, the mayor's office, their staff, and of course, Amit. We appreciate your business, as everyone else said as well. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Item number 2, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you. This is to accept the city street acceptance of Kennedy Drive, which is to approve a subdivision consisting of 7 total building lots, 3 fronting South Street and 4 at the end of Kennedy Drive cul-de-sac, having a total land area of 1.4 acres. And it had been approved by the City Plan Commission and was given an extension to complete the project, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Dyson. Any discussion on the item? Seeing, Alderman Ayalon?
And just somebody, for the public to explain what it means and just very briefly, I'm not looking for detail, just to explain what happened there and
Mr.
how does it improve the city? Thank you.
Sure. Am I on? Yep. Good evening, Jack Benjamin, Director of Planning and Development. This is a pretty standard motion before you tonight. This is accepting the cul-de-sac as a city street, meaning it is entitled to all the rights and benefits of a public right-of-way in the city, plowing, maintenance, et cetera. The developer posted a bond, made the improvements, completed that, so they will be released the bond and will accept the city street.
Until now, did the residents in that area suffered from not having, or
There haven't been residents yet.
there was no
There were no
residents? So that means that there will be more people, more residents coming in?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, what about, how many units? are there?
It's 7 building lots, a couple duplexes, couple singles, so depending on what size family and household fills those, it could be 15, it could be 20, could be less.
Thank you, so that means, that's good news. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Benjamin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson, item number 3.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 3.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Thank you. This is to accept a very generous donation from the Bakar Associates for a real property known as 2045 Stanley Street, which abuts the Stanley Golf Course. They were here last night, and it was most appreciative and very generous of them, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion on the donation of 2045 Stanley Street? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, Alderwoman Costa.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 4.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
Thank you. I'm going to read this resolution. This is to recognize January as Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas cervical cancer is a disease that affects 12,000 American women each year, often influencing women in the prime of their life. Cervical cancer kills more than 4,000 women each year and is the second most common type of cancer for women worldwide, although being one of the most preventable types of cancer. Many women are not aware of cervical cancer and the steps that can be taken to prevent this disease. Cervical cancer is preventable through regular screenings, recommended Pap testing, and testing for the human papillomavirus, HPV, which is found in about 99% of cervical cancers. Awareness of cervical cancer, its risk factors, and the importance of access to preventative measures are critical to the continual decrease of cervical cancer in women. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of New Britain recognizes January 2023 as Cervical Cancer Awareness Month and urges all women to increase their knowledge about cervical cancer and HPV by promoting education and early detection methods to decrease their risk. On a personal note, I just had both PAP and HPV testing done. It is a 15-minute procedure. It's pretty quick, and it's worth the prevention. Women can have either test done, so they can have PAP or HPV or both. I elected both, and I do urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any further discussion or comments on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 5.
Seconded by Alderman Canzero. Discussion?
Thank you. This is to accept a grant award in the amount of $94,444 from the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection to the New Britain Police Department. These funds are to be used to work collaboratively with other local law enforcement and statewide task forces with the main goal of reducing auto theft and auto theft-related crimes, either by proactive patrols or through investigations into the people responsible for these crimes, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion on the item? Deputy Chief is here if there are any questions. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, Alderman Rakowski.
Thank you. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 6.
Seconded by Alderwoman Luz Ortina.
This is a purchase order for $24,569.50 to Snow White Power Equipment for 2 Heistler Super Zero turn mowers for the New Britain Public Works Department, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion on the item? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Rakowski, item 7.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Temp. This is, I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 7.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
This is another purchasing order for the Public Works Department for $92,900 to Chadwick Burrows for a Carlton wood chipper. And I urge adoption. They should have bought a Vermeer, it's a lot better. But I know for a fact the old ones, the last one is from 2008, just saying, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other discussion on the wood chipper? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, Alderman Hargreaves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 8.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
This is for a backhoe for the Fairview Cemetery. The one purchased in 2001 is over 21 years, it's over 28 years old at this point. So yeah, I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the backhoe? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item 9.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
And this is for the purchase of a maintenance trailer for the New Britain Public Works Utilities Department. And it is a new maintenance trailer to replace one purchased in 2012 in the amount of $93,765. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Ayalon.
Can you explain what it is?
Thank you. Mr. Moriarty.
Mr. Moriarty, thank you.
The biggest function of this is a valve turner. So when we have a water main break, you have to, it's not as simple as you just basically turn the valve. Like, it's not a simple practice. Some of the times you have to turn it over 100 times. When we have a large water main break, just isolating that water main break, you have to first determine what valves you need to turn off without causing damage to the system, and then open up those valves and then like turn them out. And honestly, it'd be good to have two, because if you did not have a second one of these and we had a breakdown, we would not be able to turn off the water for a water main break. So it's a very important purchase. It's probably a purchase that's long overdue, but it's a critical piece of equipment to have, just because we manage 200 miles of water main pipes and it's old infrastructure and we have breaks all the time.
So in layman's terms, this device will turn the valve for you.
It just
over
turns
100
valves,
times.
like literally turn. You can't turn them. It could take 30 minutes with this piece of equipment just to shut a valve.
Mhm. So is that a huge piece of?
Yeah, it's a large piece of equipment on a trailer, so it's significant. I don't have a picture or anything with. I could
Yeah.
give you a picture of it tomorrow, but
So we really need two of them, you're saying?
well, we have the one that we're taking offline, but probably it's better to keep it just as a backup, honestly, rather than replace it.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Russell?
Can I ask you what's the problem with the second one? The one you're taking offline?
Well, it's old, honestly. I mean, I saw this written up as a replacement. I think it's probably a better move to keep it and have the second one as a backup, honestly, because it's just a critical. It's just a critical piece of equipment, and if this one failed down the road, you know, at least you have something in the wings for a backup, for a fail-safe.
Thank you, Mr. Moriarty. Alderman, can you just turn on your microphone?
Is there any chance that both of them will be used at the same time?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Alderman Thompson.
Mr. Chairman, just back up Mr. Moriarty, I have been involved with some of this stuff. To have two is a good idea because on some of our 24-inch water mains and bigger, you've got to isolate it, and it takes 2 valves to shut that down on a big break. And this machine is also pressure sensitive. A lot of our valves are close to 100 years old, and it slowly moves them where somebody else might manhandle them and break them. This one does it very slowly and does it without breaking that valve, so it is a very useful piece of equipment.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion? Alderman Canzero.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Moriarty. For somebody that was here for 25 years, I had no idea what that was. Because I never worked in the water department, so I used to see them when, during the breaks, but, I had no idea how their
I mean, when we had
equipment works. So.
we had a break on Russwin last March that was very difficult to isolate, and we couldn't actually, after 24 hours, we couldn't get it fully closed, so it never did fully close, so we had to repair it while a small amount of water was still coming out. And during that break, probably more than any break, you really appreciated the importance of, that's probably what initiated us take the purchase that's before you guys tonight, because it was just so clear, like, what a complicated thing this is with the system. So,
The original unit that you're replacing with one of these two, when it was purchased, rough guesstimate, what was the cost of the unit then?
God, off the top of my head, it's probably, I don't know, half of what this one is, but
So it's seen as life
yeah,
expectancy?
for sure.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10, Alderman Rakowski. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Moriarty.
Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 10.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
This is for $30,000 to Fuss and O'Neill for on-call engineering services for the city's capital improvements program, and I urge adoption.
This is seconded by Alderman Thompson. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 has been withdrawn. Item number 12, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 12.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This is to approve a grant from the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development Arts Grant to promote arts in New Britain. The total grant award is $39,380. I think it's great, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any discussion on the items? I just want to give a big shout out to Brock from the mayor's office on this item. Thank you for all your work, sir. Do appreciate that. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the grant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you again. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 13.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
This is to amend the appointment of liaisons to boards and commissions. Primarily, it's adding Alden Russell to the School Building Committee and Commission on Youth and Family Services. And if we're adding him, if anybody else would like to join another board or commission, now is the perfect time to do it.
No.
Let it be known.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the adjustments to the liaison appointments signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item 14.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
And this is for on-call engineering services to update the city's emergency action plan for the water department supply dams, and the amount of $12,000. And it's to be completed within 3 months. And I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions on the item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 15.
Seconded by Alderman Thompson.
This resolution is regarding tax abatements, corrections, and refunds to allow the tax collector to distribute accordingly, and I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, Alderman Russell.
I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 16.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
This resolution allows the receipt of local prevention council funding of $7,141.55 amplified incorporated funds to be used for the planning against violence and substance prevention activities throughout New Britain. I urge its adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Russell. Any discussion or comments on the resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 17, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Make a motion to accept and adopt item number 17.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Thank you. The State Department of Public Health has appropriated $646,619.74 to the New Britain Health Department from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, epidemiology, and laboratory capacity. This funding is intended to enhance detection, response, surveillance, and prevention of COVID-19 in Connecticut. The allocation is based on per capita. It is projected to enhance local efforts supporting COVID-19 testing, activities, surveillance, and prevention of further transmission. Unfortunate that we have it, but it's good that we're getting dollars to be able to help us all, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion on item 17? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned at 8:11. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for going easy on me, everybody.
I think you did it once before.
I think I was supposed to, but she ended up coming in. There was one she was, I'm sure she was going to make it back.
Oh, okay. Oh, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, nice job, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.